So Democrats seizing on Elon Musk's vow to audit the Social Security Administration to stop extreme fraud, like they're doing in every department across the spectrum. And they're claiming, though, Schumer's claiming that it's really just an effort to kill the program entirely.
Their goal is clear: destroy Social Security from within. Make it so unworkable, so inefficient, that Donald Trump has the pretext to slash benefits, to kill it, and then privatize the program.
All right, let's start there with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Secretary, it's great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us today. Is that the goal, to kill Social Security from within, as we just heard from Senator Schumer?
Martha, first of all, thanks for having me. And clearly, no. Senator Schumer seems a little discombobulated these days. He did the right thing on passing the clean CR. Last week, he's taken a lot of shrapnel from his party, and extreme statements like this are not helpful for anyone. The American people, when they voted for President Trump, voted for accountability, and whether it's DOJ, whether it is our efforts at Treasury and the IRS, we are bringing accountability and efficiency in, and we want to make things better for the American people. We want to ensure that they get everything that they have paid in, and their benefits are there when they need them, as they need them. So, Senator Schumer is way off base here. So,
I mean, there's a difference, obviously, between eliminating waste and fraud, which you've spoken about a lot, and President Trump has spoken about a lot. And still being able to give people all of the benefits that they paid into. But one of the ideas that has come up, and President Bush brought it up a long time ago, W. Bush, that maybe the Social Security, the money in Social Security should have some of it invested in the market. That idea got lambasted. People said he was, trying to risk their money in the risky stock market. But is that an idea that resonates with you? And do you think it would help us remain solvent in Social Security?
Well, Martha, everything's easy in hindsight. And, I saw an analysis the other day that in 1968, if we put half the Social Security trust fund into equities, we'd have a 15 trillion surplus.
Wow.
But we didn't. We are where we are. We are not contemplating that. What we are contemplating is bringing the systems and the safeguards into the 2025, giving the American people accountability and ensuring the durability of the system, and to make sure that people's checks arrive on time. President Trump yesterday signed an executive order at Treasury mandating that we examine our payment system and try to get more people onto the electronic payment platform, because you may not know it, but there is a huge amount of theft of seniors' Social Security checks. So if they are able to get into an electronic payment system, then they are much more secure. They come earlier, and they are guaranteed.
Yeah, I saw that, and I know you want to, move it over to a digital system that would be safer and that would guarantee that people's payments go through. It's probably going to be a big transition, and how long do you think that will take?
Well, for us, I don't think it's going to take that long. One of the things that I've been at my desk for 8 weeks, and one of the things that we've done is we make 1.5 billion payments a year, and we want to make sure that all of those are authorized. And one of the ways to do that, I came in and found out that a third of the payments that we send out did not have proper identifiers on them to tie them back to an appropriation to a department. So we're just starting with the basics. And I'm very big on crawl, walk, run. And so to stop crawling. We're going to get up, walk, have everything properly identified, and then we're going to fix these antiquated IT systems and make sure that they are safe and sound, and that people get their checks in a more robust basis.
I think it's about time. We see so much great technology in America, and so much of it is not used in our government. I think there's been a big wake-up call about that in the past couple of months, and certainly at Treasury with the things you've announced. I've heard you say a couple of times in interviews, Secretary, that one of the biggest surprises for you about the job has been the amount of foreign policy and national security that is involved in what falls under Treasury. I know that you were on this call that has gotten so much attention, this signal call about the Houthi strike. I just want to play this because it just broke a short time ago. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth spoke out about it just moments ago in Hawaii. Here's a quick bit of that.
Nobody's texting war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
So what's your reaction to all of this, and what do you think the lesson from it should be, Secretary?
Well, Martha, I'm going to leave all that to the legal experts. I'll say one of the few advantages of being one of the older people in the cabinet is that I still like to pick up the phone and call people.
Right. Well put. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more of that going on and a lot more situation room meetings from what the president said yesterday on that. But we wanted to just give you an opportunity to respond to it. The other thing about foreign policy that has fallen into your area, President Trump said yesterday that he thinks that Russia may be dragging their feet on the ceasefire deals that have been discussed, both in his conversation with President Putin and then in this news yesterday about an agreement for a ceasefire in the Black Sea between Ukraine and Russia. And one of the things that has surfaced, Secretary Bessent, is that Russia would like to be put back in the SWIFT banking system, the international banking system, as part of that agreement. Is that something that would be palatable to the president or to you as part of those discussions? Well,
look, Martha, I think everything's on the table. And as you mentioned, part of the national security effort that Treasury does is through the financial operations, is through our sanctions, through sanctioning individuals, banks, or countries. We have a maximum pressure plan on Iran. We have a maximum pressure plan on the Houthis, and it will be determined by Russian leadership's next moves, whether the sanctions go up or down. And President Trump, I think, would not hesitate to raise the sanctions if it gives him a negotiating advantage. And there would be a long discussion about many things in terms of the proper way to bring Russia back into the international system. But I think this is premature to discuss the terms of a deal before we have a deal. Okay. What about the mineral deal, quickly, if you can? Is that still in the works with Ukraine? And there's also talk about us taking control over their nuclear facilities. I know you were involved in the mineral deal. Can you give us an update on that? Sure. So I have nothing to do with energy or nuclear facilities. I will tell you that we have passed along a completed document for the economic partnership. It is currently being reviewed by Ukrainians, and we hope to go to full discussions and perhaps even get signatures next week. So the original document was a 4-page agreement. We took advantage of the gap in time to move to a completed agreement. So I am sure that we will move along and get this signed quickly. So I understand that President Trump is about to, I think in about less than an hour, make a new announcement about tariffs that have to do with cars. And I noticed that Larry Summers basically pushed back on your theory. He posted this on X, I believe it was earlier today. And it shows steel prices on the right-hand side of the screen here, which he said have risen and have added hundreds of dollars to American car purchases. So he says that your evaluation isn't correct, that China would end up paying. He says
Americans and have ended up paying in this. What do you say to that, Treasury Secretary?
Look, I'm not going to get in a back and forth with Professor Summers, and maybe Professor Summers should let the world know who his client list is and why he's talking about things like this, because he does have professional clients away from Harvard. But I would also add that I have 7 years of empirical data, and which showed that the China tariffs were not passed on to the American people. And I can tell you that China since then has only doubled down on becoming the exporter of last resort to the world. That is their business model. And if we put tariffs on them, they will continue producing. And we'll see, but I've got 7 years of empirical data, and he's saying that there's no economic theory. I'll match data against theory any day.
Okay. I've had a back and forth with him as well, so I don't know that I recommend that either. But it's good to have you with us today. Quick thought on inflation. We know that egg prices have come down, gas prices have come down, but there's still some consumer confidence wariness out there. What would you say about that, Secretary?
Look, the survey data tends to be very different from the actual data. That since January 2nd, since January 20th, prices have come down. Inflation is under control. Interest rates are down. Energy is down. And Martha, I'll tell you that when we execute on our tax plan, on the deregulation, and on the energy dominance, every one of those is disinflationary. Now, what we have, the prices got very elevated under the Biden administration, so we still have an affordability problem, and we are trying to address that every day. But a good start to that will be getting energy prices down and getting interest rates down.
Okay, and we're watching some of that happen already. It takes time for these things to kick in, and we know that the president has said that there would be a little bit of discomfort along the way, and we're watching that play out. We look forward to hearing what he has to say about tariffs at 4 p.m. today. Treasury Secretary Bessent, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you with us. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Martha.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.